We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Second India-Australia 2+2 defence and foreign ministerial dialogue in New Delhi today. Israel releases CCTV footage showing hostages at Gaza hospital. Argentina elects Javier Milei as new president to reshape the political and economic roadmap of the country. The 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India to begin in Goa. On to details now. Defence ministers of India and Australia will join the country's foreign ministers in the second India-Australia 2+2 defence and foreign ministerial dialogue in New Delhi on Monday. The ministers are expected to discuss a wide range of strategic defences and security issues. More in this report.
India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will meet their Australian counterparts for the second India-Australia 2+2 Defence plus Foreign Ministerial Dialogue in New Delhi on Monday. Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister of Australia Richard Marles and Foreign Minister Penny Wong will be representing the Australian side. India and Australia share a comprehensive strategic partnership. A mutual logistics support agreement was signed in 2020. Australia and India support a rules-based international order. They seek to forge regional institutions in the Indo-Pacific which are inclusive and promote economic integration. The Quad is an example of shared interest. The two countries also participate in joint military exercises. Apart from Quad, the two countries are members of the Commonwealth, Indian Ocean Rim Association, ASEAN Regional Forum, Asia-Pacific Partnership on Climate and Clean Development, and East Asia Summit. Both countries are also members of the 5 interested parties in the World Trade Organization context. The Economic Cooperation Trade Agreement, ECTA, was the first free trade agreement signed by India with a developed country. It came into force in December 2022. India and Australia are partners in a trilateral agreement along with Japan to enhance the resilience of supply chains. There is also significant cooperation in the education sector. 2 universities of Australia have campuses in India. More than 1 lakh Indian students study in Australia. Apart from the 2+2 dialogue, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will hold a bilateral meeting with the Deputy Prime Minister Marles. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar and Foreign Minister Wong will also hold a bilateral meeting under the 14th Foreign Ministerial Framework Dialogue, that's on the 21st of November. Stronger people-to-people ties are growing naturally, given the growing Indian diaspora in Australia. The two countries are aiming for a broad and multifaceted bilateral relationship. The countries, which are cricket-loving nations and share a formidable sporting rivalry, elevated their relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership during the first virtual summit held on 4th of June 2020. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, Australian Minister for Foreign Affairs Penny Wong arrived here in New Delhi this morning to co-chair the second India-Australia 2+2 Ministerial Dialogue and the 14th Foreign Ministers Framework Dialogue. And Indian Minister V. Muralidharan will be visiting Tanzania and Kenya from November 20th to 23rd. A 30-member business delegation from India will be accompanying Minister of State for the visit. The visit is aimed at strengthening India's strong bilateral relations with these countries. In Tanzania, the minister will call on the President, Mr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, and also hold discussions with other ministers. And then visit overseas campus of IIT Madras. V. Muralidharan will therefore after visit Kenya from 22nd to 23rd of November 2023, where he will meet functionaries of government and inaugurate an exhibition on the role of the Indian soldiers in East Africa during the First World War. And as 41 workers are still trapped inside the partially collapsed Silkyara tunnel in Indian northern state of Uttarakhand, the government has laid a new 6-inch pipeline for around 40 meters in order to better deliver food and water to the trapped workers. The government has also announced a plan of 5 options for their safe evacuation. Prime Minister Modi is constantly monitoring the evacuation. Also, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called Chief Minister of Uttarakhand Pushkar Singh Dhami and took information about the ongoing relief and rescue operations in the collapsed tunnel near Uttarkashi. The Prime Minister assured the availability of the necessary rescue equipment and resources by the central government. This is the 3rd time Prime Minister has taken information about the situation from the Chief Minister. The PMO team has also inspected the spot and is continuously monitoring the situation and undertaking coordination work to rescue the workers safely. Well, the 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India kickstarts Monday at the coastal state of Goa. Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting Anurag Singh Thakur will inaugurate the film festival. Stuart Gadd's Catching Dust will be the opening film of the festival.
The international section of the 54th International Film Festival of India will have 198 films, which is 18 more than the 53rd IFFI. It will have 13 world premieres, 18 international premieres, 62 Asia premieres and 89 India premieres. This year, International Film Festival of India received a record number of 2,926 entries from 105 countries, which is 3 times more international submission than last year. More than 270 films will be showcased during the festival at 4 venues. Indian Panorama section will showcase 25 feature films and 20 non-feature films from India. The opening film in the feature section is a Malayalam film, Atam, and in the non-feature section is Andro Dreams from Manipur. One of the highlights of IFFI is the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award presented to Hollywood actor and producer Michael Douglas. He will be there in IFFI to accept the prestigious award along with his wife and acclaimed actress Catherine Zeta-Jones.
The people who come here and participate in the festival, they get to see more and more films, and apart from that, the quality of films should be the best from around the world. And we have been really successful this year because we opened our entries way back in February, and we were able to receive more than 3,000 films this year as part of entries to the festival, from which we have selected about 182 foreign films, which is a big number, and I'm sure that about 100 countries are covered.
There will be over 20 masterclasses and in-conversation sessions with eminent filmmakers, cinematographers and actors. There will also be facilities at the festival to ensure that specially able festival delegates can access all the screening and other venues. Making festival an inclusive and accessible venue for everyone is a step taken towards inclusivity.
We had some accessible cinema last year, but this year for people hard of hearing, we have Indian Sign Language picture-in-picture cinema. 2 pictures we have done, 2 films we have converted for that, and that will be shown here, and so it will be truly accessible. You can see all the places have ramps, and physically everybody is accessible. Everybody has accessible to the cinemas.
The annual cinematic extravaganza has been home to the best of world and Indian cinema for years, with stalwarts from the film industry of India as well as from those around the globe, gracing it as delegates, guests and speakers.
Cine lovers will experience 270 movies across 4 destinations for the film screening, and also this year more than 2,900 movie entries were received from 105 countries, which is 3 times more than the previous editions. Coming 9 days will be full of cinematic festivities for all the entertainment lovers. With camera person Sanjeev, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Panji, Goa.
And India celebrates 8 years of the Uday or Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana scheme, which aims at recuing the debts of discoms in India and also reduce the cost of electricity throughout the country. Here is a report by DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mondal.
Over the last 8 years, the Uday or the Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana launched by the Ministry of Power has been able to turn around several debt-ridden power distribution companies across the country. The state power distribution companies have reported significant improvement in the reduction of losses and improvement in the cost of power distribution. The financial data shows that the state discoms reported a reduction in aggregate technical and commercial losses by 3%. Not just this, it has also reported the reduction of average cost of supply and average revenue realized gap from rupees 0.48 per kilowatt to rupees 0.30 per kilowatt in the financial year of 2020.
Electrified every village, we electrified every hamlet, we connected every home. We connected 29 million homes in 19 months. And the International Energy Agency called it the largest and the fastest expansion of access ever in the world in the history of the power sector. That's what we did. We connected the whole country. We converted our country from power deficit to power surplus.
The scheme, Uday, was launched in November 2015 for operational and financial turnaround of state-owned power distribution companies or the discoms. The scheme aims to reduce the interest burden, reduce the cost of power, reduce power losses in distribution sector, and improve operational efficiencies of the discoms. The scheme has now covered almost all the states and union territories of India, which incentivizes the states by exempting state takeover of discom debts. The scheme also aims to provide increased supply of domestic coal, coal linkage rationalization, liberally allowing coal swaps, allocation of coal linkages to states at notified prices, and an additional or priority funding.
पिछले 8 वर्षों में देश में लगभग 1,70,000 मेगावाट बिजली उत्पादन की क्षमता जोड़ी गई है। वन नेशन वन पावर ग्रिड आज देश की ताकत बन चुका है। पूरे देश को जोड़ने के लिए लगभग 1,70,000 सर्किट किलोमीटर ट्रांसमिशन लाइंस बिछाई गई हैं।
The scheme has an outlay of over rupees 3,000 crore, which will reform and change the face of electricity distribution and discoms in the country over the next few years. Dibyendu Mondal's report for DD India.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. A massive fire broke out in Fishing Harbour in Visakhapatnam of Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. The fire that started with the first boat eventually spread to 40 boats. The fire was brought under control. Cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. No casualties or injuries were reported in the incident. A case has been filed and an investigation is underway. In India, the 4-day festival Chhath Puja came to an end after devotees offered prayer to the rising sun, followed by breaking the 2-day-long fast. The devotees performed Chhath Puja on the banks of various rivers, including Ganga and Yamuna. Hundreds of people of Indian origin from New Jersey and New York flocked to waterfronts in the United States as they celebrated the auspicious festival of Chhath on Sunday. The festival was celebrated by members of the Indian community who gathered on both Saturday and Sunday for the festivities. In New Delhi, Rashtrapati Bhavan and the India Gate have been illuminated in blue light to mark the World Children's Day, which is celebrated on the 20th of November. The day holds important significance because on this day, the UN General Assembly adopted the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. The Shillong Cherry Blossom Festival in the Indian state of Meghalaya officially concluded on Sunday. The festival grounds were resonated with the echoes of electrifying performances from both local and international artists, creating an exceptional atmosphere that drew festival goers closer to the heart of the celebration. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Ukrainian president calls for rapid operation changes for soldiers, sacks commander. Novak Djokovic punctuated another memorable year on Sunday by etching his name in the history books once again. And marathoners from across the world participated in Havana's annual Maratona race. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on. Update on Israel-Hamas conflict now. The Israeli army on Sunday released a video showing security camera footage of what they were the Hamas terrorists bringing in hostages from Israel into the Shifa hospital on the day of the October 7th attack. The video, aired by Israel's chief spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, appeared to show 2 hostages being brought into the Al-Shifa hospital. Armed men can be seen in the CCTV video, which is date stamped 7th October. One of the hostages appears to be resisting. The other is shown on a stretcher.
The world must remember, Hamas is holding the elderly, men, women, children, babies, hostage. The Israel Defense Forces has a moral obligation to bring every one of our hostages home. We will not rest until we do. Hamas was hiding and murdering our hostages in Shifa Hospital. Hamas was building terror tunnels underneath Shifa Hospital. By now, the truth is clear. Hamas wages war from hospital, wages terror from hospitals.
Also, Israeli forces said that 19-year-old Noah Marciano was abducted and murdered by Hamas terrorists on October 7th as a body was found and extracted by IDF troops adjacent to the Shifa hospital in Gaza. IDF further said that due to the ongoing combat, Marciano's captor was also killed.
During ongoing combat, in the vicinity of where she was held captive, Noah, Hamas captor, was killed. And Noah was injured. I repeat, she was only injured. An independent pathological report has determined Noah's injuries were not life-threatening. I repeat, Noah's injuries were not life-threatening. Hamas terrorists took Noah into Shifa Hospital, where she was murdered quickly. Hamas murdered Noah inside Shifa Hospital.
Well, the Israeli military also published a video on Sunday of a tunnel, it says, dug by Hamas terrorists under the Al-Shifa hospital. The IDF and social media site X said it revealed a significant 55-meter-long terrorist tunnel 10 meters underneath the Shifa hospital complex during an intelligence-based operation. According to IDF, the tunnel entrance contains various defense mechanisms, such as a blast-proof door and a firing hole, in an attempt by Hamas to block Israeli forces from entering. It further said these videos prove that Hamas is using residents of the Gaza and patients of Shifa Hospital as human shields. Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu laid out for the first time Israel's preconditions for the post-conflict administration of Gaza.
My goal is that the day after we destroy Hamas, any future civil administration in Gaza does not deny the massacre, does not educate its children to become terrorists, does not pay for terrorists, and does not tell its children that their ultimate goal in life is to see the destruction and dissolution of the State of Israel. That's not acceptable, and that is not the way to achieve peace.
And now update from Russia-Ukraine war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday demanded rapid operation changes for soldiers and announced the dismissal of the commander of the military's medical forces. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said he had replaced Major General Tashenia Ostastenko as commander of the medical forces as the new level of medical support for soldiers is needed. Ostastenko was replaced by Major General Anatoly Kazmirchuk, head of a military clinic in Kyiv, he added.
The task is clear and has been repeatedly stressed in society, particularly among combat medics. We need fundamentally new level of medical support from our soldiers, from high-quality tourniquets to full digitalization and transparency in supply, from high-quality training to sincere communication with combat medics in those units where medical care is organized truly, properly and truly effectively. The experience should be extended to the entire defense forces. In today's meeting with Defense Minister Umro, priorities were set. There is a little time left to wait for results. Quick action is needed for the forthcoming changes.
And moving on, Argentina celebrated the victory of Libertarian Javier Milei as the new president, winning with nearly 56% votes as against his rival Sergio Massa, who scored 44% of the total votes. Milei has been handed over an economy battered by triple-digit inflation, looming recession and rising poverty. His election is going to reshape the political and economic roadmap of the country, could impact trade in grains, lithium and hydrocarbons as is opposed to communist nations, while favouring strong ties with the US. Citizens expressed happiness over Milei's win, hoping him to bring a turn around in country's economic situations. People were enthusiastic over the results, saying they voted Milei for a change.
This model of decadence has come to an end. There is no turning back. The results of this model are plain for all to see. From being the richest country in the world, today we are ranked 130. Half of Argentines are poor and the other 10% are destitute. Stop this impoverishing model of this caste. Today we embrace the libertarian model so as to return to being a global power.
Well, with the surprising win of Javier Milei in Argentina's general elections held on Sunday, reactions poured in from around the globe. Leaders from various nations took to social media to extend greetings to Milei on his victory. Presidents of Chile, Colombia, Brazil and Uruguay took to social media site X to congratulate Milei. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan congratulated Javier Milei on being elected president, adding that US looks forward to building on a strong relationship based on human rights, democratic values and transparency. While former Brazilian president and former US President Donald Trump also extended greetings on Milei's success. And after government collapse over a cluster of crises, including immigration policy, Netherlands will hold parliamentary elections on the 22nd of November, with its domestic economy dealing with issues ranging from the high cost of living and a shortage of housing to healthcare and migration. Mark Rutte made exit after serving as Prime Minister for 13 years. Voters will cast votes for the 150-seat House to elect the new Prime Minister, keeping in mind their concerns of economic well-being and climate change. Among the candidates running for the post, the front-runners include Dilan Yeşilgöz and Peter Omtzigt. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Macau's Vintage Cars Parade brought an end to the annual event, which attracted car enthusiasts from Hong Kong and Macau to the entertaining high-speed sports event. Made in different decades, ranging from 1940s to 1960s and 1980s, the participating cars were old but classic and still in fashion. The Nguyen dynasty's imperial seal, one of the precious Vietnamese antiques stolen and taken abroad, was returned to the Vietnamese side at a ceremony held at the Vietnamese embassy in France. This important event was the result of over a year of negotiations and the implementation of legal procedures to halt the open auction of the seal and fulfill Vietnam's request for its return. Returning the seal is crucial for preserving the integrity of cultural heritage, a matter of importance to UNESCO in the field of cultural heritage preservation. Colorful hot air balloons as part of the 21st International Hot Air Balloon Festival filled clear blue skies in central Mexico on Sunday, where participants from over 20 different countries attended the festival. 200 hot air balloons filled the sky, with some balloons taking a unique form, such as unicorn, dinosaurs, elephants, and popular characters such as SpongeBob. And in sports, a ruthless knockout, Djokovic trounced home favourite Jannik Sinner in straight sets to win the ATP Finals title for a record 7th time. Earlier in the week, Djokovic had lost to Sinner in the group stage, but he avenged his defeat with a sublime display to claim a 6-3, 6-3 victory. The world number one dropped only 2 points on serve in a flawless opening set, and once he had broken Sinner's serve in the 4th game, it was largely one-way traffic. At one point, Djokovic won 14 points in a row against a player ranked 4th in the world before Sinner briefly slowed the match of the 24-time Grand Slam champion. His win concludes a year in which he won 3 of the 4 Grand Slam titles and seized back the world number one spot from Carlos Alcaraz. And Ukraine coach Serhiy Rebrov said his players were angry ahead of their crucial Euro qualifier match against Italy over EFA President Alexander Kafarin's statement. Kafarin said that it would be a disaster if reigning champions Italy failed to qualify for Euro 2024. Despite winning Euro 2020, Italy failed to qualify for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups and are now facing the prospect of not reaching a third major tournament out of 4. Should Italy lose, it would end the current European champions' hopes of direct qualification for next year's finals in Germany and send them into the playoffs. Italy and Ukraine will battle it out on Monday for 2nd place in the final automatic qualification spot. And Spain defeated Georgia 3-1 in the final Euro 2024 qualifying Group A match. The Spaniards, already assured of top spot, recorded 21 points after 7 wins in 8 matches. They lost only to 2nd place Scotland, who had also already qualified for the finals. Spain grabbed the lead in the 4th minute after a free kick from Torres on the left was headed home by Lino Mand for his first international goal. Portugal trounced Iceland 2-0 at home to finish their Euro 2024 qualifying campaign with a perfect record of 10 straight wins in Group J. Portugal finished with 30 points, 8 points ahead of Slovakia, who also qualified for next year's finals in Germany. Bruno Fernandes scored the first goal of the night for the host 8 minutes before the break with a well-placed low shot from the edge of the box. Scotland finished the Euro 2024 qualification campaign with a frantic 3-3 home draw against Norway, but despite being denied by a late equaliser, it was a joyous night at Hampden on Sunday. The result meant Scotland finished the group in 2nd place with 17 points, 4 points behind group winners Spain. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Well, let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lepakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.